Hello, my YouTube family and friends. I pray that everyone is having a beautiful, blessed Saturday. It is indeed a blessing to be alive. And if you have not said it already, let's say it together. Thank you, Jesus, for another day. It's a blessing to be alive, y'all. And I wanted to hop on here just real quick. I wanted to read Psalm 102, and it reads, "Hear my prayer, O Lord, let my cry for help come to you. Do not hide your face from me when I am in distress. Turn your ear to me when I call. Answer me quickly." And I'm going to read it again. "Hear my prayer, O Lord. Let my cry for help come to you. Do not hide your face from me when I am in distress. Turn your ear to me when I call. Answer me quickly." And that was Psalm 102 verses 1 through 2. And so I want to title this video tonight, Learning from Our Mistakes. And I can just, I just want to be honest, because I don't like pretending. I don't like acting like I got it all together. But I've made my fair share of mistakes, and I know you all have too. But it's something about admitting, it's something about, being honest and being transparent and saying, you know what, I didn't make a good decision there. I didn't do what I should have done in that situation. And so, there's nothing wrong with learning from that bad decision, or sometimes it's not even a bad decision. It could just been, a reroute, or it could have been a detour. I don't know. So only God knows, because he sits high and looks low. But one thing I've noticed I'll just let you know. So when we moved here, I know for a fact, God told us to move here to Colorado from Tennessee back in 2022. And he told me, it was so clear, y'all. It was so clear. I mean, he just told, it was so clear. And I knew that he told us to leave where we were at to come here. Nobody could tell me nothing different. I know what I heard, and I know what he told me. So when we got here, well, actually, while we were still there, I was in the midst of selling the house, and in the process of selling the house, and there was a gentleman. He was it was all men that was fixing on the house and doing different things to me, doing different things to it, trying to get it, so I could get it sold. And so it was just such a busy time, and I was like, whew. And that's why I was so tired too, because every day it was something for me to do. I wasn't working at this time because I had resigned from my job, but every day it was something to do, because it was somebody calling, it was somebody coming over to fix something, to put something new in the house, or this guy was fixing we had a hole in the ceiling in the great room, in the den. And so he was fixing that, and it was just a blessing that, I had the funds to do that at the time. But anyway, he had told me, he ministered to me, and he had told me, he said, God wanted me to tell you, because he soon quickly found out that I was a believer and I was a follower of Christ. And he was like, God wants me to let you know that when you get to Colorado, it's not going to be easy. And I said, yeah, I sort of, I don't think I told him, but I sort of knew it wasn't going to be, but I just didn't really want him to tell. I didn't really want to hear him tell me that, but that was God speaking through him. And he was right. He was right. It has not been easy, but it's been worth it. And so when we moved here, I was telling the lady who was living with, to go to our church, I was telling her, I said, I just thought, since all that we had been through, the death and burying of my late husband, and all the the betrayal and from different people, family, friends, whatever, co-workers, I just thought, okay, we're going to have a smooth landing. It's going to be a pretty good smooth landing. But no, because for one thing, I had to learn from the guy is reteaching me on a lot of stuff. And again, I made so many mistakes. I feel like maybe I haven't, but I feel like I have. And I just want to share some things with you all. When we when we first moved here, we didn't have a place to live, because God didn't tell me. Like, we came out here in June of April. The girls were on spring break, and so we came out here a little early. I was trying to go ahead of God, and I said, okay, we're gonna find us a place, a rental home or apartment, So when we move out here in June, which was just a few months later, we're going to have a place to stay. We're going to have a smooth landing. Well, that didn't work out. So we went back, because we were out here just for a few days, but we went back to Tennessee, and I was like, oh, where are we going to stay? And so I said, well, I'm still going. And so a few family members were asking me, you don't have a house out there yet, or you don't have, I'm like, no, I haven't even sold the house I'm in yet. So, people, that's a lot of people, that's what they do. They take the money that from the house that they're selling, and then they whatever, but that wasn't my case, because God didn't want it to be like that. And so it was just totally all just faith. It was a faith walk. That's all it was. And so we came back out here. We moved out here permanently after the house sold. House sold in May. And then we moved out here next month in June, because I had to wait till my oldest daughter graduated. So we had to take care of some loose ends and do what we needed to do, close everything out, and then we were out of there. And so we moved here, and so I just went ahead and booked a hotel, because I was like, I don't know, we ain't got a place to go to. We had all this stuff from our house. We lived in almost 20 years. And so had all that packed up, shipped here. But then the guy, the people kept calling me, and they said, let us know, they were calling me, let us know, when you your address. And I was like, I was getting sort of nervous, because I'm like, we don't even have an address yet, And so I said, well, I just have to wait. And then finally, we didn't have a place yet. So I just gave them the U-Haul place that was here, and they just took everything there. And so I was sort of happy about that, because I was like, at least all of our things are here with us now, because they had it like in a holding place or something like that. But anyway, so we stayed in the hotel for a while, and then we moved out of the hotel. Then we went to Airbnbs. Then we went back to the hotel. And it was just back and forth. We spent quite a bit of money, because, like I said, we didn't have a place to live. In the meanwhile, we were looking for a rental home or apartment or whatever. But I'm like, I really was praying for a house, because we had so much stuff. Like, literally, we had so much stuff. And I was like, it's not going to be enough. I didn't want to move in somewhere and then still have to pay a storage fee. I wanted to get everything out. So God worked it out where we was able to get a rental home, and so I feel like that was a good decision. We met a really nice gentleman here, and he blessed us, and he told us we could have the house as long as we wanted it, blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. We stayed there for a whole year, and then we moved out from there. Now, I feel like this is where the bad decisions came in at, because what happened, for some reason, I stopped working. I had a work from home job, really pretty good job. It was a temp to hire job, but I don't know what it was. I wasn't really feeling that job, and it was an easy job, but for some reason, y'all, I could not catch on. Had done that work before. It was like radiology, and that's what I'm doing now. But it's like it wasn't for me. Like I don't know if it just wasn't for me to be at home at that time or what. But it seemed like I just couldn't catch on to the job. Like I was testing, and I'm like, I know I'm not a dumb person. I catch on real good. I had so many jobs. I worked at Blue Cross. I used to work at a cell phone place where I had to program cell phones for a living. I'm like, I know, but I don't know if I was just distracted, because I had so much stuff on my mind, and I was trying to find a place to live. I mean, well, we were in a place then, but I don't know if it was just like a lot of stuff going on with me mentally, or whatever. And so it was just a strain. And so anyway, the assignment ended. I worked there from October of 2022, and I started October 2022, and I stopped working in February 2023. And so anyway, we ended up moving out of that place in August of that year. And I had been, I was praying, I was fasting to the Lord, and I feel like I didn't hear him speak to me like I thought I had, and we ended up not renewing the lease. But for the other part of it, we didn't have the money. Like, that place was it wasn't expensive, but it's expensive. Any place is expensive, you don't have the money to cover it. And so before, I was able to do that, but then we had been paying stuff and car notes, insurance, this, that, and the other, and then paying rent every month, and it was just a lot. And then my daughter, she was just had started her junior year, and she's getting ready to go into her senior year. And so it was just a lot of expenses. And so it was just really me. My youngest son was helping me, but still, he had his responsibilities as well. But again, I feel like when the bad decision happened was when we left there. And I don't know if we were supposed to stay at that house, the rental home, or not. But so as it was, we left. And I thought I heard the Lord tell me to leave in August, because I kept praying to him. And I said, when you want us to leave? And I said, okay, August, we're not renewing the lease. And I felt so good and confident about it. But again, if we're not tuned into God, the enemy can come in and disguise himself. And we think we're hearing from the Lord, and we're not. And so, like I said, I don't know for sure. I feel like I don't know. I just kind of don't know now. Because as I think back on that decision catapulted into a lot of other stuff that I feel like should not have happened. But again, I know when I stand before God on Judgment Day, but I just, I did what I thought was best for me and my children, because I was wanting to make sure we had a place to live. So anyway, we left there, and the man who was renting the home to, he said, I have another place. So he showed us like one place, and it was just like a dungeon. I mean, y'all, when I tell y'all, it looked like literally like a dungeon. And I'm like, who is gonna pay rent to live here? I don't think animals want to live there. And I was thinking to myself, and then it had an upstairs, but it just looked like a crime scene to me. It was dirty, and it was cheap. Of course it was. And I didn't like how the parking was and how the outside of it was. It was not good. So I was thinking to myself, I was thinking to myself about him. I'm like, where we come from. You rented the really nice house to us. Now, you think we just don't have money, where you just trying to put us in anything now. And so maybe I appeared desperate. I don't know. But anyway, I told him, I said, no, I don't think that's going to work. So then he said, okay. And my youngest son, he was a little concerned, because I was trying to work. That's when I was working at State Farm. And I was trying to work, and I was just I was stressed out. I should not have been, but I was. And they kept asking me at State Farm, have you found a place yet? Have you found a place yet? And I was trying to tell them what was going on, not for them to get in my business, but I was telling them, I was like, maybe they know somebody that can help me. But they didn't. And so if they did, they didn't help me. And so they were just asking me every day, have you found somewhere? Have you found somewhere? I said, mm-mm. And then I remember the lady, the manager, she told me, she said, I don't know if I could be in your position. And I said, what? She said, you just so calm, and you don't even know if you're going to have a place. You don't know where you're going to live. I said, well, welcome to my life. But, people that's been stable and whatever, they don't understand that. And if they ain't, they ain't in their word, they ain't close to the Lord, they look at it. I know they were looking at me like I was crazy. Like, is she good? Because, I would have been looking at me like that, because I'm like, you don't know where you moving to? Because the time was winding up. Like, it was coming to the end of July. And I was like, I don't know where we're going. But then I would get worried and stressed, but then a peace would come over me. And I was just like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. But anyway, my youngest son went to the man. I told him not to, but he went to him. And he said, tell your mom to call me. And so anyway, I called him, and against my own better judgment, I called him, and then he said, I got some places I want to show you. So these were nice places. So I was like, okay, now we talking, But anyway, he showed us a few places or whatever. And then he allowed us to move in this one place, which is the place that we were at for a whole year, the other condo, before we moved in with the lady from church. It was a nice place, really nice and everything. And only thing, it was the third floor, but I was like, okay, I don't care. But we had a hard time getting moved. It just wasn't a smooth move in. It was really difficult, and we were struggling. And I remember all four of us was trying to get them beds up there. We got really brand new big beds, and everybody just looking, but nobody was helping. And the man across from us, he was like, let me know if I can help y'all. And I'm like, you see us struggling. We need help. But okay, we did it. God allowed us to do it. We were so tired that night. But I feel like that was not a good decision. I feel like I should have waited on God before we accepted that place. It was nice, yes, but it was not smooth. It was nothing smooth about moving in there. It was a little rough. It was a little rocky, and it just wasn't smooth at all. It wasn't, and we had really a hard time getting out. I remember moving out of that house. It had gotten down to the wire. My son had to go to work, and I had to go back over there to the house, and it was raining or something that night, and it was I ended up having to ask the man who was cleaning the carpet. This how bad it had got. I had to ask him to help me because there was still some furniture in the home that I didn't have nowhere to take it to. And so I had the U-Haul truck, and I said, if you don't mind, can you help me load this couch, two-seater couch? It was a love seat. Can you help me load the love seat into the U-Haul? And then I think it was something else in there, another piece of furniture. He said, yeah, I don't mind at all. He was a big, strong man. He helped me load that on there. But we had such a hard time because I'm not equipped to lift no big old couch, but I did it. We lifted it out the back door, on around the house, and onto the truck. And I told him, I said, thank you so much. I felt like he was an angel. He was there to help me because when I went back to the house, he was there. Because I don't know how I would have got that out. Because the guy was like, well, you got to get that out. And like I said, it was just little stuff like that. And I was trying to leave it there because we didn't have nowhere to put it, And so finally, I went to a thrift store here, and I just about pleaded with the guy. He said, man, we normally don't take stuff like this. And I said, I told him my situation. I said, I am so tired. I said, I'm a widow. We're trying to get moved out of this place, and I don't have nowhere else to take this furniture. And I said, if you don't mind, can I just leave it here, please? And I said, I got to get this U-Haul truck back because I had to, you got to get them back at a certain time. And he finally, I know it was God worked on him, and he said, you can leave it. You can leave it. He said, I'm not supposed to do this, but you can leave it. So he let me leave it. And I hated to do that because it was a nice couch. It was a really nice couch, but that's the couch I had purchased before we left Tennessee, and it was really nice. But like I said, not a lot of that stuff like that, and the other piece of furniture could not have fit in that place because that condo was small, way smaller than this one, and so I had to get rid of it. And so anyway, we got moved out, and I said, thank you, Jesus. But I was so tired that night. I was so tired, and all of us just slept on the floor. Because we didn't have the beds put up yet or nothing, but they were in the condo, but they weren't put up. But like I said, I feel like that wasn't a good decision because I feel like I should have waited. And my youngest son tell me all the time, he said, Mom, I feel like we should not have left the house that we moved in. We should have stayed in that house longer than what we did. And I said, yeah. I said, but I wasn't working, and then I didn't have enough money to pay it. But then the man later told me, he said, I would have worked with you all. And I said, yeah, but, I don't know how that would have looked. But he told me he would have. But like I said, I didn't know what else to do, really. And I knew I couldn't afford it. So I was just trying to get out of there. So anyway, moved in the condo, stayed there for a year. Then that lease did not get renewed. So we ended up leaving there last July. And that's how we ended up. I feel like that was another not so good decision because, I always think about that, and I say, that even though it was 3 months, but I feel like what happened there, we moved out of the only reason we ended up moving in with the lady who go to our church was because the lease didn't get renewed. So I didn't have money just sitting on standby to, go get another place. Because here you got to have at least $4,000, $5,000 to move in. It's a little bit more expensive here. And I didn't have it, and I was like, well, we're going to have to, I don't know what we're going to do. And we stayed in a hotel for a little while. And then, I don't know if you know, but when you living in a hotel, that's a lot of money. Because that's like, I think it's like 100 and something a night or 80. I can't remember what it is, but it's expensive. And I was just counting up the money. I'm like, whew. And even though I didn't have a car, because my car had got repoed by this time, but I'm like, how we gonna do this? Because, at first it seemed like it was doable, but I was like, we can't do this because I'll never have money. Every check, like I'll literally spend my whole check for us to have a place to live. So I said, Lord, please help us. And so we stayed in the hotel for a little while, and then the lady, I had started, I'm trying to think how I met the lady. So there was I think we saw it on, I don't know if we saw it online or something. But anyway, we called this number we saw, and the lady was telling us she had some properties, this, that, and the other. Me and her ended up talking for a long time on the phone. We talked, I know, about 2 hours. So I was like, my children were like, Mama, I think you got the place. So we went to go see the place. She said she was going to work with us and this, that, and the other. And me and my youngest daughter went to go see the place. The place was super little. And I'm like, okay. You walk in the place, you walk around, and that's it. I mean, literally, it was super tiny. And I'm like, where are we going to put our stuff? Outside? Because it can't fit inside. So I was just like, okay. So back to square one. And so then I got back to we were staying in the hotel then, Motel 6. We got back to the hotel, and the lady from church called me. And she said, why weren't you at church today? And I told her the situation, and I said, we're looking for a place to stay. I said, we don't have a place to stay. We're staying in the hotel. And, she didn't know because the situation, but I was letting her know, not her to be in my business, but, just to let her know what was going on. And I was being honest. And she said, what's going on? No, I said, you don't want to know. She said, no, I do. Tell me. So then she immediately told me about the lady who we moved in with. She said, yeah, I know a few ladies who are looking for roommates, and they need some help paying their mortgage. And, she said, let me give you one of their numbers. So the lady who we moved in with, she was the first number she gave me, the name and number. And she said, I'm going to give her your number, and she gonna call you. Or she said, you can call her. And so what was so weird, and I believe God was, maybe, I don't know, maybe he was telling me no in the very beginning, but I got ignored. I'm not for sure, but the lady who gave me the lady's number who we moved in with, the next day came, and she told me, I texted, I said, where's the lady's number? And she said, I sent it to you. And I said, no, you didn't. No, she said, I gave it to you. And I think she meant she gave it to me verbally. And I said, no, you didn't. I don't have it. And she said, I did give it to you. And I said, no. So, and she said, well, let me send it to you through text. And so she sent it through text. And me and the lady ended up talking. The lady picked me up she said, I'll pick you up from work. And it went on like that. But as I think back on that, that started out super smooth. Seemed like it was the right thing to do. Seemed like everything was going to work out with that. But then that started getting a little rough around the edges, I feel like that wasn't a good decision either. And I feel like out of desperation, that's why that happened. Because, and me and her both, we testified to that. We said, we had a few long talks, and I told her, I said, I feel like, because she was telling me, she said, I feel like I should have waited a little longer instead of taking you and your family in. I feel like God was wanting to show me some things and wanted me to depend on him. She said she got desperate and she wanted money right away. And then I just needed a place to stay, but I had the money. I had the money to help her. So I feel like maybe that wasn't like really a mistake, but maybe, I don't know, y'all. But nevertheless, we stayed there for 3 months. But what I'm saying is that in that time frame, things started transpiring. And so, it was just like, did I make the right decision? Because, how some people say, when you live with people, you find out who they really are and how they really are. That's what was going on. And I was just like, okay, you showing your real self. And she wasn't being mean or anything. And I've shared this before, but it was just, I was like, did I make the right decision? Because there was just certain things about that situation that seemed like it wasn't right. It's like, is this guy in this? But again, I don't know if that was the wrong decision, but I felt like, again, if that was I feel like maybe I should have waited a little longer and she should have waited a little longer, because I really felt like when the lady from church told me, said, I got this number, this, that, and the other, and call her. She needs someone to help her. But the lady who we moved in with, she had told me, she said she had been crying out to God too, like I had been. She needed help because she needed help with her house to pay her house note. And so I feel like, if nothing else, God, if the enemy did step in that, God used it for my good, for our good. So, we can't dwell on what could have been, what should have been, whatever. But I feel like he, even if it was not a good move, God made it a good move. But she did mention, the lady we moved in with, she mentioned this before we left. She said, I sort of feel like how this all went down, me and you both should have waited. Because she started having second thoughts about, if she should have even had a roommate. She started having second thoughts about, if she, because she was like, I thought it was just going to be you. I didn't know you was going to have your 3 children here too. And I'm like, well, they need a place to stay too. I can't just say, I need a place and I'm going to leave them and my puppy out in the cold. And so she was like, yeah, but I just didn't, understand that. So I was thinking to myself, why are you bringing that up? Because I even asked her at the tail end of when we first met. I said, it's okay if my children come because they don't have a place to stay either. She said, yeah, that's fine. But again, that's in the past. But what I'm saying is that we have to learn from our mistakes. We gotta be better, do better. A lot of times we don't make good decisions. And God, even though we make the wrong move, God will make it the right move. But we got to trust him. And sometimes when we don't make the right move, he said, you got to learn through this. You got to learn through it. You got to learn through this so you won't do it again. And I'm going to tell y'all, that was not fun. Those 3 months was not fun at all. And what I learned from that is to trust God. What I learned from that is to obey God. What I learned from that, don't make a move without consulting God. Because like I said, I don't know. I still really don't know about that. I feel like that could have been, like I said, it could have been a desperation move. Me and her both were desperate. I know I was, because I was like, we need a place to live. I mean, my daughter was ready to go to college, and it was just a lot going on in my brain. And I was like, we ain't even got a place to live. All of our stuff was in storage, and I was paying storage fees, and it was just a lot going on. My car had just got repoed a little bit before that. And I'm just like, Lord, will you please help us? We need your help. We need your holy, heavenly help. And so, but yeah, what I was going to say, she said to me, she said she believes that the enemy stepped in to to bring confusion to both of us. And so that's how me and her both got in that situation together. But she kept saying also, she kept going back and forth because she kept saying, well, I feel like I'm supposed to help you. And I told her, I said, I feel like I'm supposed to help you too. But it's both of us knew, or we felt like something was off. It was like, I don't know if, it started out good, but it didn't work. It didn't, in the middle, I'm going to say in the middle, it started kind of going south. And then God, he poured it in at the end. But again, we can't harp on what we didn't do or what we should have did or whatever. We just got to learn from our mistakes. And like I said, I know I've had my fair share, and I know we'll continue to make them on this side until we get to heaven. But again, I can honestly say, y'all, that every prayer that I have prayed to the Lord, he has answered it. And I even told her, because she was saying to me, it may be, because she had said to me when we first moved in, she said, I was telling her, we was talking about mistakes. And so I was telling her, I said, I feel like I haven't made the right decisions, and I feel like that's why I landed here with you. That's what I told her. And she said, yeah, sometimes, we don't do what we should do, and God gotta teach us through that. And sometimes it takes a long time. And then I said, well, my God, I said, my experience with God is suddenly. He don't take a long time to answer your prayer. And I said, sometimes, you do have to wait days, months, years. But I said, I serve a suddenly God. And I said, I'm speaking that right now. Because, see, she was thinking that from that, if that was a mistake, she was thinking we were going to be there for a whole year. And because we moved in August, and she had already got to this upcoming August in 2025. And I told her, I said, I don't know. I said, I don't think we're going to be here that long. I don't think I'm going to be here that long. That's what that's what I told her. She was looking at me like, what you talking about? And I said, I said, I don't think it's going to be that long. And so she kind of looked at me, and I felt like a lot of stuff I was sharing with her, God was telling me to share with her, but she didn't receive a lot of things. And, you know, she would tell me stuff too, because she read her word and she was in her word and prayed and stuff. But, you know, like I said, there were times when I would mention to her about fasting and say that I was just trying to, I don't know, I was just trying to make the most out of our, you know, stay there. I was trying to be a blessing to her. She was a blessing to me. But I had mentioned to her, you know, about fasting, and she said, yeah, I got to be led to do that. And I said, yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. I said, but I was just sharing with you because, you know, a lot of times when we really want to hear the Lord speak clearly to us, that's the way we do it, you know. And I wasn't saying do it. I was saying, you know, advising her that's a good way to hear him. So, like I said, I try to share things with people that will bless them, that will help them, encourage them. You know, even though people tell me stuff, foolishness and stuff that's going to try to hurt me and get me off track. But I don't do people like that. I try to help people. And stuff that I have learned from and stuff that I have had to go through, you know, I want to help somebody else so they don't have to do it. You know, that's why people come to me all the time at work saying different stuff about, should I do this? Should I say, go to God? Go to God. Don't come to me. Go to God, because that's who's going to let you know. And I've told quite a few people in the last week or two, I said, God will confirm it for you if you are to do whatever you want to do or you think you should do. You know, I've had people come to me about a job. I had people come to me about moving to a new place. I said, go to God. Pray to him. He'll confirm it. I said, look for signs. He'll show you what you need to do. But I said, you got to obey him, though. When he tell you what, you know, a lot of times he tell you stuff to do and you don't want to do it. Okay. But he told you. And a lot of times he's already answered the prayer. He's told us what to do, but we do whatever we want to do. And that's how we end up making a mistake. But my youngest daughter, she told me something before we moved out of the last condo. She said, Mama said, whatever's for you, you're going to receive it. You can't, like, you're not going to miss it. And that really resonated in my spirit. And I said, you know what? You're right. And so a lot of times the Lord will use our children to speak to us. And I try to listen to all of them and take in what they tell me, because I'm not above hearing from them because I'm older than them. I tease them all the time. I'm your mama, listen to me. But I listen to them too. Because if, you know, they'll say something and I'll be like, it'll stay on my mind. It'll stay on my mind. But again, you know, let's not overthink about stuff. Let's pay attention to everything God is telling us to do. Don't go ahead of God. Take your time. Wait on him. Trust him. And most of all, trust his timing, because his timing is perfect. But let's learn from the mistakes that we've made in the past, the ones we're making and we will make. You know, let's learn from them. Because God, that's what he, you know, it's good when we are teachable. You want to always be teachable. So again, you know, like I said, I've had, Lord God, no, I don't have my fair share of mistakes. But I can honestly say I've grown from those mistakes. You know, things I've done here has made me better. It's made me stronger. And like I said, it didn't feel good, but ultimately it was for my good. So as always, I pray you always hear Jesus speaking through me and not just me. You go out and bless somebody. You was already blessed when you woke up this morning. I pray you've had a beautiful, blessed day. I pray you have sweet sleep tonight in the mighty name of Jesus. I love you, but remember, Jesus loves you so much more. The best is still yet to come for you and for me. God bless you and God keep you is my prayer. May God answer every prayer you have ever prayed to him according to his perfect, holy, divine will for your life. And just go out and be a blessing to somebody somewhere. And God, again, he blesses us every day when we wake up and have breath in our bodies. Have a beautiful, blessed evening. Have sweet sleep tonight. May the Lord encamp his holy angels around you both day and night. Thank you all for listening. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.